Yes, Prabhuji, we can start.
ओम अज्ञानातिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यगुणविष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं गुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगुणा रघुनाथं तं तं सजीवं सहादेतं सहादूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सद्गुणा ललिता श्री विशाखाब्दंश हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च प्रधानाः पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, welcome to this discussion on Bhagavad Gita as it is written by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So today we will be seeing, continuing our discussion on text number 40. So the verse is Indriyani Mano Buddhe Asyadhisthana Muchyate Etaye Vimoheti Esha Jnanam Avritya Dehina. So the translation of this verse is the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of living entity and bewilders. So here we had multiple discussions. We talked about Grihastha, Grihamedi, and what is the responsibility of a man and woman in order to ensure that we do not become lusty and how we can be Krishna conscious devotee, how we can, how our dress sends signal to others and provoke lust or subside lust. So these are few things that we discussed last week. The one important thing that we understood is lust is much more poisonous than poison because it is not seen, but it still contaminates us from inside and we are pulled out. So at this point, we stop. Now we look further into the how lust works. It actually corrodes. Lust actually corrodes our intelligence by contaminating us. The contamination that lust gives becomes so much um, occupied in our mind. Our mind gets preoccupied by lusty desires. So in general, exposure to sense objects has to be minimized as much as possible. So that is very important. That is why mixing of men and women uh, should be avoided because it is direct contact of sense and sense objects. And that is why Shastras prescribe that men's quarters and women's quarters should be kept separate. There is some allowance available for Grihastha men to associate with their wife, but it is also very, very limited only when there is real need. Otherwise, men have their own daily duties, and the wife has her own daily duties, and husband has his own daily duties. The interaction is very, very limited. So when others warn us uh, that when others warn, especially Shastras, when they warn us that sense and sense object should be away, we should be very careful. We can't be just thinking that nothing is going to happen. If we trust our intelligence too much in the sadhaka stage, then we would get ourselves in trouble. Right now, our intelligence is not trustworthy. Therefore, mixing of sense and sense objects is disaster. It is it lust sabotages this sabotages our consciousness and our consciousness is hijacked by lust. What does this mean? That we should not trust our intelligence in sadhaka stage. At functional level and in our day-to-day activities, of course, we have to use our intelligence. When we do activities, which scripture tells us that they are dangerous, we should not trust our intelligence. Example, prolonged contact with sense object is definitely detrimental and can drag us away from our sadhana. So if a preacher has to discuss with opposite sex on regular basis, this results in too much association with the opposite sex. This results in prolonged association with opposite sex. The initial motive in this case could be very benevolent. However, this motive can change easily and rapidly. This prolonged association with opposite sex is warned about in scriptures. If we think that nothing is going to happen, we are only engaged in Krishna conscious service. Here, the intelligence is prompting us to do something in contrary to what is given in the scriptures. These activities cannot be directly perceived as wrong activities. The classic example of how intelligence gets perverted by something which takes us away from Krishna's service is demonstrated in life of Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj, when he saw um, the deer, it was an emergency situation. So the deer was flowing away helplessly in the stream of water. At that time, it was a benevolent deed to save the baby deer, and that was an emergency situation of saving a life. It was a benevolent because it saves one's life. So after that intelligence, Bharat Maharaj thought that I had protected the deer. So he was thinking that he protected the deer and hence he has to maintain it. There is no one to take care of it. So he was thinking that he only has to take care of the deer. So in emergency situation, we have to protect and act suitable to circumstances. If we have prescribed duty, um, for in case of Bharat Maharaj who has renounced the world to focus on service of the Lord, getting diverted to focus on taking care of deer is complete misunderstanding of one's duty. In this Bharat Maharaj episode, we further see that he got completely taken away from his devotional duties. When the deer came and disturbed him, he misplaced his priority in taking care of the deer and not in devotional service. Slowly and steadily, he got completely distracted from his bhajan and he was focused on the deer only. At the time of death, he was simply thinking of deer instead of Supreme Personality of God. Though here there is nothing sinful, but Bharat Maharaj got diverted his attention to things which are outside the devotional service. This is misplaced intelligence or covered intelligence. This results in our journey away from Supreme Personality of God. There are two types of intelligence. One is material and another one is spiritual. Material intelligence directs us towards material things. Spiritual intelligence directs us towards Krishna. Spiritual intelligence primarily comes from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Material intelligence does not need to be always bad, but it should be always subordinate to the spiritual intelligence. Here, when Krishna is telling us that intelligence is covered by lust, it is the material intelligence which is covered by lust. The material side of one's faculty, rational faculty and contemplation faculty can be covered by lust. So if you see the purport of the Prabhupada sharing the screen again, so it is an intriguing purport. Um, now it gives us, it gives it in terms of a battle. So you can see that the enemy has captured different strategic positions in the body of conditioned soul, and therefore Lord Krishna is giving hints of those places so that one who wants to conquer the enemy may know where he can be found. So he is giving it in terms of a battle analogy. Here, there is a bridge over the river. There are two armies. on the either side of the bridge, wanting to conquer the bridge, which is like a strategic point of to cross over the river. So now the strategic position is conquered by lust in our body, and this bridge is so if we consider bridge as a strategic position, so in our body it is senses, mind, and intelligence. Uh, so Prabhupada is actually using the words giving ins in the purport because what is this referring to? It is referring to senses, mind, and intelligence, which is not physical. So there is something different between physical and material. Sometimes we use among devotee community we use these words interchangeably. Physical refers to gross material things. Material can be subtle also. It can be also subtle. The body which is visible to us is physical. Mind is not physical. If we take, for example, my eyes are, my eyes are rusty. What does that mean? Even if we do CT scan of our eyes, we cannot recognize or discover lust. If eyeballs are replaced with new ones, the lust will still persist. Thus, it is not physical eyes where lust is situated. Thus, lust is situated in the faculty of sight. That is why Srila Prabhupada is hinting us, using the word ins. So, so there is one good shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam. यस्यात्म बुद्धि कुणापे त्रिधातुके स्वधि कलात्रदिषु भौम इज्यति यत् तीर्थ बुद्धि सलिले न कर्यचे janeshu abhigneshu sa eva gokara. Actually, this shloka Prabhupada is quoting in this shloka. So, what is the meaning? A human being who identifies his body made of three elements with his self, who considers the byproduct of body to be his kinsman, who considers the land of birth worshipable, and who goes to place of pilgrimage simply to take bath rather than meet men of transcendental knowledge, there is there is to be considered like an ass or a cow. So where is lust in this? So where is there's no lust anywhere in this place. So that means our conceptions needs to be uh, long. So this false identity, this entire shloka here talks about false identification of spirit soul. That means we identify ourselves with body. So this verse has nothing to do with lust. And when we see King Vasudeva, the father of Lord Krishna, when he does sacrifice in Kurukshetra, he is given this instruction. So this is coming in 84th chapter, sages teaching at Kurukshetra. So as is in this verse refers to foolish people or mudas. Often intelligent people are compared to has. What these people are, no, and why these people are compared to cow. Cow is considered holy. So we say mother cow. We hear that Krishna likes cow. But we need to understand that cow is subhuman. Cows are gentle and loving. However, they can be put under illusion. How they can be put into illusion? Cow by itself cannot give milk. So what generally the milkmaid or the person who milks the cow, what he does is he brings the calf closer to cow, and when the calf touches the udder, the milk starts flowing. Then calf is taken away, the milk still flows. Sometimes the look alike of calf or calf, or the look alike of calf can be used to milk the cow. So cow is not intelligent. It is an animal body where the capacity of the soul to come out of illusion is limited. However, the point which Prabhupada wants to make by bringing this sloka is that when the intelligence is contaminated, then we get these type of misconceptions. So, identifying ourselves to be material body, it is one form of lust. It takes us away from Krishna. And who assumes wife and family as permanently his home. So, wife or the family members came to us in this birth. Before birth, we had a different family. After this death, no, after death of this body, we will be getting one more family. So there is no permanency. So this impression in our mind covers our intelligence. Who thinks an earthen image or land of birth is worshipable? Earthen image can be now we can see there are a lot of leaders who are made no, their images are made and we consider them as god, or there are demigods, statues of demigods, deities of demigods. They are all agents of especially the demigods are agents of Krishna. We have to respect them as a one of the agent of no, agent in the service of Krishna. We can pray to the image of spiritual master. That is very good. We can pray to the images of images or deities of Vaishnavas. That is very good. But praying to the earthen images or images of human beings who were materially affluential does not give any use. So that is covering of lust. And considering the place of birth as worshipable. So many people like to be associated with a specific country and they become bhaktas of the country. That also is at a very high, it is also at a bodily platform. So lust covers our intelligence. And the people go to holy places not for hearing, but to just go and take bath in river. These are all like covering of our intelligence, covering of our intelligence lust, by lust. None of this thing is bad or sinful, but they will take us away from Krishna. That is the point we should understand. So association of senses and sense objects is much subtle in these cases, and we do not. It is just like Bharat Maharaj trying to help the deer, and the deer can be at an image, or it could be place of birth, or it could be whole place of pilgrimage, anything, any of this, but it just takes us away from Krishna. So when lust is situated in intelligence, these type of misconceptions arise. So lust need not be connected to immoral activities or brutal activities. These activities are wrong also from today's legal system point of view. But the worst than that is the view presented in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a Vedic perspective. The activities mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam verse are dharmic and materially good, being patriotic, visiting holy places, thinking about family members are materially good. However, if one's lifespan is occupied with only these activities without any knowledge of spiritual life or spiritual world, then the conscience of such a person is equivalent to that of a cow or ass. So we can see how lust is covering our intelligence. So Srila Prabhupada brings out the point the way our intelligence gets contaminated in this purport of it. So it's a very nice purport. I'll go to shloka number 41. Tasmat intvam indriyani although niyamya bharata rishabha papmanam prajahi yenam jnana vijnana nasana. So what does that mean? Therefore, O Arjuna, best of Bharata, in the very beginning, curve this great symbol of still lusts by regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. Jnana Vijnana Nasana. Jnana is knowledge, Vijnana is scientific knowledge of pure soul, Nasana. So it is So this lust is in the 3.40, the focus was more on location of lust. So lust is situated in senses, mind, and intelligence. This verse 3.41 is now giving the means by which we can overcome the lust. So how can we overcome the lust? This is overcome by Niyamya Bharatarshava. Niyamya. Niyamya means by regulating. Tasmatvam indriyani or from the beginning we need to regulate our senses. This is overcome by regulating regulating the senses. So there is an interesting word which Krishna is using. Bharata Rishabha. Bharata Rishabha means O chief amongst the descendants of Bharata. Rishabha actually means bull. In Vedic culture, lion or tiger are considered to be strongest of the wild animals. Bull is considered strongest among the domestic animals. If bull gets angry, it can knock out people and wound them brutally. So we can see there are sports where matador tries to dodge a bull or a rodeo rides on a maddened bull. These sports bring excitement because fundamentally bulls are hostile. When we spoil their mood, the mood becomes really very bad, and this brings excitement, and this is the sports. So bull is very fierce. Bharata Rishabha refers to a person who is so powerful and fierce. This term Bharata Rishabha is glorification of a Kshatriya. So if you see Bhagavad Gita 2.15, Yamina Gatayanti Ete Purusham Purusha Rishabha Samadukka Sukham Dhiram Somritavya Amrita Tavya Kalpate. Amrita Tvaya Kalpate. Okay, so what does this mean? Uh, so here, Purusha Rishabha. Purusha Rishabha means best bull among the men. It means bull among the men. Purusha Rishabha means bull among the best of or the best of the men. Bharata Shah means bull among the residents of the dynasty of Bharata or the best among the descendants of Bharata. The power of Arjuna is not demonstrated when he conquered Karna, Bhishma, or other Kauravas. It was it was demonstrated only when he controlled his lusts by engaging his mind and thought and action in service of Krishna. So it will be demonstrated by the right way when he is controlled. That means what? It is demonstrated when he is controlling his lust by regulating the senses. That is what Krishna is telling in this shloka. So this requires heroism. So Bharata Rashava means to control the lust. It requires lot of heroism. In today's society, heroism is majorly decided based on gratifying lust. If we take any movies, the hero is usually a person who gratifies his lust to maximum. Now, if a person does this, he becomes hero. That is, he becomes hero, and his activities become heroic. On the other hand, if somebody is in danger, he wants protection at that time. By protecting him, we demonstrate heroism. So this also is heroism. What is depicted in movie is also heroism, but is not correct way. But this is not according to Shastra. This is not the only definition of heroism. This definition of heroism that we have seen are material perspective. This is required in Kshatriya when they rule the kingdom and need to protect the people in the kingdom. So when we see significant level of heroism is required to protect others from dangers. So this danger are majorly material danger. A greater level of heroism is so if somebody is demonstrating uh, the higher level of lust is considered hero. That is very low level of heroism. The next level is somebody protects people from difficulties, dangers. Then he is at a good level of heroism. But the next level of heroism is to protect ourselves from falling prey to lust. By doing this, we set example for others on how we can protect and guard ourselves from lust. The heroism that people will emulate is to protect and drive out the lust from them. Krishna is pointing out to Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, be the best, no, be the best of the Bharata Rishabha, be the best of be the best bull among the descendants of Bharata. Arjuna had multiple wives. So if you see Arjuna's life, he had multiple wives. When Urvashi proposed to him, he refused. Polygamy was accepted in case of Kshatriyas in Vedic culture. This was because the number of men were lesser than number of women. A strong man who can give protection and take care of many women can marry multiple women. So this was okay in Vedic culture. Thus, the polygamy is not expression of lust, but expression of complete self-control of senses and expression of social responsibility. So heroism here is expressed through self-control, no? Control of senses and control of lust. We see that heroism or living a legally okay life may pull us down by lust. So, a materially okay life is not what a Krishna conscious devotee aspires. In current day movies in India, we can see that hero is depicted like Rama. He's a typical materially and legally okay guy, and the villain is depicted like Ravana. So, so this the depiction of hero to Rama and which is materially or legally okay, and villain to be legally not okay, and is very very complete misuse of Ramayana. In Ramayana, we see that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ramachandra Murthy, is actually embodiment of Dharma, and Rama is villain or is embodiment of adharma. In current day movies, both hero and villain are villains actually. They are not heroes. They want to use, both of them want to use heroin for their sense enjoyment. Though the relationship between the hero and heroine is consensual, and relationship between villain and heroine is forceful, so there is materially significant difference between them. But spiritually, both both actions are motivated by lust to enjoy the senses. This enjoyment of sense will not make us happy in true sense. So they are put in illusion, and they also put everyone else in illusion. The relationship of hero and heroine and villain and heroine will only vary in relative degree of legally okay and not okay. But all of them are in complete illusion only. So whatever passes as a consensus need not be morally okay. That is the impression of current day people, current day mentality of people. For example, Nazi killing of Jews was a consensus among the Nazis during World War II. Actually, it was a genocide, and morally it was not okay. But consensus was there. But this consensus is not the right basis for making decisions. Decisions should be made through scriptures. In Ramayana, when Ravana sees Sita Mata for the first time, he is in the garb of mendicant, and he has taken the garb with the purpose of abducting Sita Mata. Ravana thinks that if a women are praised for their beauty, they feel very pleased. This often, no, so it will also soften their heart. In fact, Ravana thinks that once Sita Mata's heart gets softened, and she is positively disposed with him, he would he would then tell who he is, and then she could come with him without much hassles, or she would come with Ravana freely and immediately. Ravana was having such a wrong thinking. He was thinking that he is the most wealthy, most person with impressive physique. So Sita Mata is going to just get impressed with it. With this thinking, he started praising Sita Mata. Then Ravana uttered words that after creating Sita Mata, the creator would have retired because Sita Mata was very beautiful. So creator got completely tired after creating Sita Mata. The reason that there could be no other greater beauty or perfection than Sita Mata was that the creator retired. So this is the theme of all the movie songs, at least in Indian movies. And so we can see that it is completely demoniac. So it is completely demoniac, and it is resulting in lust. In romance movies, this is how the hero praises the heroine. In Ramayana, the villain is speaking this to heroine, and in Indian movies, hero is speaking to hero. So fundamentally, our understanding of what heroism is and what villain is completely, completely shattered, or it is misplaced. The first difference is from material moral point of view, and second perspective is both Ravana and current day hero are both in complete illusion. We do not deny the fact that there could be remarkable material beauty and there is importance of material morality. All this is there. From the spiritual perspective, these words are in bodily platform only, which is far, far away from spirituality or the level of soul. Thus, they do not help in spiritual well-being of the living entity. So, this type of activities do not help in spiritual well-being. Thus, these words bind the soul to deeper illusion. Which description? The description which Rama gave about Sita Mata bind us in deeper illusion. This is not a sign of Bharata Rishabha or true hero, which Krishna is referring in this verse. True hero is one who is at spiritual level. Hence, Krishna is pointing out to Arjuna to come out of the bodily platform by regulating the senses and then curb the lust. Krishna uses the word papmana, which means, after sharing my screen, so Krishna is using the word papmana praja here. Papmana means great symbol of sin. Curb the great symbol of sin. So that means lust is a great symbol of sin, which can destroy both jnana and vijnana. Jnana means knowledge and the realized knowledge or scientific knowledge. So if you see the purport of Srila Prabhupada, Lord advised Arjuna to regulate the senses from the beginning so that he could curb the great sinful enemy lust, which destroys urge for self-realization and specific knowledge of self. So Prabhupada is actually using the word urge for self-realization. When we come under the influence of lust, we forget that we are soul. We come to the bodily platform and our urge to understand higher truth or spirituality gets completely destroyed. This means under attack of lust, we do not feel like chanting Hare Krishna. We do not feel like calling out to Krishna. We do not feel like doing anything that will reduce lust. This is because we get a feeling of happiness in executing things which are lusty. So we see that it destroys spiritual knowledge and it destroys our interest to acquire the spiritual knowledge. This is the underlying reason that in the society Where there is too much of sense enjoyment, the impetus for self-realization is almost zero. So by having some degree of austerity and accepting some sort of difficulty in material life, it helps us to have fighting spirit to get out of this material life, which is not conducive situation for Jiva. And this motivates us to follow spiritual sadhana meticulously. So when we follow Ekadashi, when we have a strict control on the food we take, when we follow four regulatory principles, when we avoid coffee and tea, when we get up early in the morning and for Mangalarti, chant 16 rounds, then we challenge the comfortable material situation. And this brings fighting spirit in it. Too much of material comfort and sense enjoyment creates complacency, and hence we become willing captives of lust. This means that we do not have any resistance to lusty desires. So if somebody offers coffee or tea, we immediately take. We do not even fight, so that fighting spirit gets killed. That is urge for self-realization. If somebody offers a cigarette to smoke or somebody offers wine, we immediately accept. So that is what we should avoid. Thus, the willing, we become willingly captivated or willing captives. We are jailed. The jiva forgets the fact that this enjoyment is short-lived. The enjoyment of a cigarette is no only for uh, 10 or 20 times you can smoke out. That's all. Afterwards, it is gone. We need to buy one more. So we require 1 hour or 2 hours more to come back to the get the same enjoyment. If we get saturated with that level of kick, then we go for higher level of intoxication, and that way we ruin our life. So the urge that is there uh, for spiritual realization goes off, and we get more and more entangled in lusty desires or sense enjoyment. This body anyway is going to dwindle. If somebody takes a lot of drugs, sooner or later, his body is going to dwindle. He is going to get old age, or he will get disease, and finally he's going to die. So in Mahabharata, that is a classic example that we see that during Vanavas of Pandavas, Arjuna goes to heaven, and rest of the Pandavas are in Badrikashram. They want to do austerity. So they go to Kuvera's abode or one of the gardens of Kuvera, and they live there. The place is very natural, scenic, and they are provided with all the facilities by servants of Kuvera. Though they were staying in forest, it was a very, very comfortable life. That time, Bhima has a dialogue with Yudhishthir Maharaj. He is telling that this place is very comfortable. This comfort will erode the impetus for the great mission which we have ahead of us. This mission could be a fratricidal war where we need to face tough opponents like Bhishma, Drona, Karna. This comfort which they are having right now in Kuvera's abode is going to kill the impetus. So he says that we should leave this place immediately. This does not mean that we need to make our life intentionally miserable. But the idea is that we should take care that the comfort does not build complacency and destroys our impetus for spiritual endeavor. Thereby, we should not become willing captives. So we should be very careful and understand that lust will destroy the urge for self-realization. So this is very, very important. So in Srimad Bhagavad, Prabhupada is actually quoting uh, this Chatushloki Bhagavatam verse from Bhagavatam in this purport. Jnanam parama guhyam me tad vijnana samanvitam sagrasyam tadangam cha grihana gaditam maya. So if you see the meaning, the personality of God itself, knowledge about me, as described in the scriptures, is very confidential and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully. So, in the purport of 3.41, Prabhupada is writing, Bhagavad Gita gives us the general and specific knowledge of the self. The living entities are parts and parcels of the Lord, and therefore they are simply meant to serve Lord. This consciousness is Krishna consciousness. So from the very beginning of life, one has to learn this Krishna consciousness, and thereby one may become fully Krishna consciousness and act accordingly. So this verse, which is uttered with Supreme Personality of Godhead to Lord Brahma, Lord is telling Brahma that this knowledge is very confidential. Which knowledge? Knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead or Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada writes in the purport here, he is telling Krishna consciousness. So this Krishna consciousness is a very confidential knowledge. And Supreme Personality of Godhead in this Srimad Bhagavatam verse is giving this knowledge to Lord Brahma. And so it is Jnanam Parama Guhyam. And is also giving Vijnana, is also giving the realization of knowledge, realized knowledge. The knowledge with categories can be understood by further contemplation. So he has to contemplate further about this knowledge. So contemplation, Grahana Gaditamaya, he has to contemplate by Supreme Person, or he has to, Brahma has to contemplate on this knowledge categories and he will get much more deeper realization. So we see that in Bhagavad Gita also, Lord is, in this sloka, he is telling to Arjuna, Jnana Vijnanasana. So we have to overcome the lust. We have to overcome the lust from the beginning by regulating our senses. So if you see the purport, lust is only the perverted reflection of love of God, which is natural for every living entity. But if one is educated in Krishna consciousness, so this is jnana. The natural love of God cannot deteriorate into lust. When love of God deteriorates into lust, it is very difficult to return to normal condition. Nonetheless, Krishna consciousness is so powerful that even a late beginner can become a lover of God by following the regulative principles of devotional service. So, from any stage of life or from the time of understanding its urgency, one can begin regulating the senses in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord, and turn the lust into love of God at the highest perfection of human life. So, Krishna consciousness can bring can come from any time. We can bring that in any time in our life. So Prabhupada has given us this Krishna consciousness, uh, which is helping us to regulate our senses. And this regulation of senses is very important for us to advance towards Krishna and get out of this material world. Okay, so I stop here. Do you have any questions? Actually, I want to. You can ask one question. How to overcome misconceptions? How to overcome misconceptions in our life? the misconceptions that we talked about here, right? One who considers, yes, Atma Buddhi, one who thinks himself inert, assumes wife, family, one who thinks earth and image or land of birth. We can ask how we can overcome this. So, in chapter 18, there is a very good shloka. उत्तम श्लोक वार्ताना जुषतां तत् कथामृतं स्यात् संभ्रमन्तो कालेपि स्मरतां तत् पदाम्बुजम्. What does this mean? This was so because those who have dedicated their life to the transcendental topics of personality of Godhead, of whom Vedic hymns say, and who are constantly engaged in remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, do not run the risk of having misconceptions, even at the last moment in their life. So, what does this mean? This is the case in Srimad Bhagavatam. Um, Parishit Maharaj is now going to be cursed. He has settled with Kali. Kali is not able to still enter into the kingdom of Parishit Maharaj. And now in this chapter, Parishit Maharaj is going to get um, cursed by Brahmana boy. So the question is now wandering around the topic when Supreme Personality of Godhead. Um, Actually, the first few slokas talk about how Supreme Personality of God is wonderful, how he enacts special things with the devotee. And then, as soon as Parishit Maharaj heard that he is going to die in 7 days, he did not have anything in his mind. He did not think about his wife. He did not think about his body. He did not think about his family members. He did not think about his land of birth. He did not went to any place of pilgrimage, but he went to um, the bank of river Ganga, which is sometimes they say it as Yamuna, only to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. That means what? He is free from any misconceptions. So how does it come? Who have dedicated their lives to the transcendental topics of Supreme Personality of God. So, na uttama shloka vartana jishatam tat katamritam. So, you are constantly hearing and chanting the topics of Supreme Personality of Godhead. They can easily remember smaratam. This is smaratam. So, it is hearing prolonged and continuous hearing of topics of Krishna will help us overcome the misconceptions. And these misconceptions we studied today that it is coming from lust. Is coming from lust. This is the greatest enemy. So to overcome lust, we have to have prolonged and regular, continuous hearing of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then only, without any misconceptions, that it means without coming under the influence of lust, we can focus on lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is required because at the time of death, we need to think about the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of God to get out of this material world. So I see that there is a lot of connect in between Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So it's quite interesting. Okay, any questions? If there are no questions, then we stop here. वाचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभैः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। ग्रंथराज भगवद गीता की जय। Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava jai, Gaur Premanandi Hare. Thank you very much for joining this discussion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.